This is Ned's NRL Unpopular Opinions with Jharal, Oscar Pannifex, Liam Fogarty, and Ryan Cook.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Ned's NRL Unpopular Opinions. I'm your host Ryan Cook. We've got a jam-packed show to look forward to this week, listeners. And joining me to help dissect all the origin selections and the week ahead, it's Oscar Pannifex.
That's me. I'm here. Let's go. Go the Blues.
To my left, Westerana's finest coach, Mr. Espresso Martini himself, Jharal.
Yeah, sorry about that, boys on Magic Round. Did get the best of his, eh? It creeps up on you.
I actually gave mine to Oscar because I'm a pussy.
Did you really?
Yeah,
I didn't even notice that.
I can't do them.
Oh, you
too much caffeine. I'm sensitive,
You're
boy.
fraud.
You still copped it though, because I cornered you and just started chewing your ear off the rest of the night.
Telling me the same story.
And that other bloke who's saying's chewing your ear off. Who is it? What's your name, mate? Tell us who you are.
I'm not the host this week.
Well, speaking of that, I got to give you credit, mate. You did a great job in my place last week when I was out with COVID. So, Liam Fogarty, welcome back to your original role.
Never take a day off, mate.
There's a bit of tension between you guys today. Have you guys noticed that?
I've got a long list of demands, and
really
his head is top of it.
He's coming for me. All right, boys, we've got a lot to talk about this week, and we've got to start off with origin selections, of course. We're going to start with New South Wales because Madge has made some big calls, and it's been very controversial.
Auntie Marge.
Over the last few days, yes.
It's a new one.
We'll start at fullback. Edwards in over Tedesco. Oscar, this was your selection when we did our teams a few weeks ago, I believe.
No, it wasn't.
yours.
I had Pappenhausen
Oh,
in
you
there.
did too. I had Teddy, so neither of us had it.
Okay.
I had Edwards on the wing when we did him a few weeks ago. Yeah, look, congratulations to Dylan. I think Maguire, it's hard to argue with what Maguire was quoted as saying. He's been one of the most consistent players in the competition for the last 4 or 5 years. Ironically, probably one of the other only equally as consistent players in the comp has been James Tedesco, who he's replaced for game one. But look, I think I can understand where Madge is coming from. I can also see the angle where people are saying Tedesco could perform pretty much the exact same role as Edwards. Teddy's been great in clubland, but the results haven't gone New South Wales' way with Teddy as captain. And yet it's been hard to deny Dylan's consistency and his body of work.
Do you think Edwards will be under the same sort of microscope if he has the same kind of mistakes as Teddy last year?
Oh, no. I think
How short's the leash?
Yeah, I just think...
It's a good question.
It's his first game, Like you can't really judge someone. We know what he's going to give. We know what he's going to give. He's going to have a lot of output into the game, but it's where he injects himself. Is he going to hang around the ruck a lot? Is he going to be like a James Tedesco, or is he just going to play like Dylan Edwards and run a lot of meters and take a lot of hit ups like he does at Penrith? Because it obviously works for them, but a team can't really play like Penrith. You've got to understand that. So it's going to be interesting to see what Marge does with him, yeah.
Do you guys think Teddy's getting the respect he deserves here? 22 games of Origin. We know the tries he scored. It just feels like he's probably the most noteworthy player of the last 4 or 5 Origin squads for the Blues. And I just feel like he's just not getting what he deserves.
Yeah, I think that's probably a fair assessment. He's probably, I guess, the poster boy for New South Wales, as the captain of a state who's lost 3 series over the last 4 years that they arguably should have won, or at least 2 of them. His reputation's probably taken a hit over that period. Like, his body of work throughout his career has been immense. He's still one of the formed fullbacks in the competition in clubland. But he was criticised for, Jharal, you just touched on what sort of involvements Dylan's going to have. Teddy was accused of crowding the ruck or crowding the attack in good ball, to having too many touches in the wrong areas when New South Wales are trying to set up an attack. So that's not something Dylan does in clubland. He'll get through a shitload of meters, but... Yeah, it's a different look. You got to respect Teddy, though.
Look, I got to say, we've probably got to respect Billy Slater. Look, from one fullback to another... I think it's a masterclass how Billy has taken him out of the games since Billy Slater's taken over at the helm of Queensland. Like, he's sort of gone backwards since Billy Slater has taken over. And, the reason why is, I think we can all agree, Billy Slater knows exactly what James Tedesco's trying to do. every game because he was there. He was the best. So, unfortunately for Billy Slater, or unfortunately for any fullback that comes into being a New South Wales jersey, they're going to get figured out.
Billy's one step ahead.
Yeah, because Billy knows. Like, he understands, especially, he understands the game, but I mean, he's arguably the best fullback to ever play our game. So he's gonna understand how Dylan Edwards. It's probably going to take him a game or two to realise where they're going to inject Dylan Edwards, but he'll figure it out pretty quickly. And that's unfortunately for Tedesco's, fall. It's been Billy Slater, I think, and it's not been great for obviously James Tedesco, but that's just the way it is. I'm excited to see where they put Dylan Edwards because, obviously we don't want to, like I've said, I think I've said it the last 2 years in the podcast, I don't want to see blowouts in Origins. We want to see tight games. So it's going to be interesting to see how they're going to play him and where they're put him on the field to make sure that he does the best for the Blues.
Billy just gets it.
He does.
The other position that we have to talk about is at hooker, Reece Robson in over Coruscant. This was probably the biggest, most shocking decision, I think, to come from the Blues list. Coruscant, as we've said on the show, has probably been the standout player at that position all year so far. Robson's been playing on an unperforming Cowboys team, still gets in ahead. How do you feel about this one as a Blues fan, Oscar?
Look, I think it speaks volumes about the style of footy Madge wants to play in game one. I'm not sure if it's a response to so many of New South Wales' creative attacking players missing from this game, but it feels to me like Madge is trying to win this one 8-6. He's picked a guy in Robson who's going to tackle for 80 minutes. His service is some of the best in the competition. He doesn't have the craft and the skill and the playmaking that a guy like Appy or on the other side of the field, a guy like Harry Grant does. But his service is elite. He fires lasers both ways and he tackles for days. To me, it feels like he's going to spearhead a New South Wales pack that takes 4 one-out hit-ups to a kick for 80 minutes next week. And they're going to be happy to win off, again, look, we'll get to the back line in a moment, a shitty little ugly kick and win it by a penalty goal or something and just defend their way.
You think that's funny that you guys are going to start implementing the way that Queensland played?
You were going to say this.
It's just, that's the way Origin is. Well, and I think for you guys, for so long, you just went away from that because we've watched New South Wales teams blow out Queensland sides and win them that way.
Occasionally.
But we've never, occasionally. But we haven't, when was the last time we've seen a really tight one in the last 4 years that New South Wales have won? No. It hasn't been the fact. So, yeah, I think Madge is going to bring back a bit of the Queensland spirit and play a little bit like Queensland.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. Do you think that there's an element of Queensland almost going the other way under Billy? A little, like, you can't deny the way you guys won last series. You scrapped and fought your way to a very trademark Origin win. But this side that Billy's picked, Reece Walsh, your back line is filled with attacking players. Daly Cherry Evans likes to chance his arm. Ben Hunt, Harry Grant, a lot of creativity. Carrigan through the middle. Like, to me, it looks more like a team that's trying to score points versus New South Wales is just going to ugly grind their way to full time.
Well, I think as we get on in this rugby league era, the game gets faster and faster. So we're going to see more points in Origins. And look, I'm happy to win 8-6, like you said. Like, it doesn't bother me, but. If you've got someone like Selwyn Cobbo coming off the bench as well, I think we know where we sit and what Bill does want to do, and that is score points. But he's also got players in there who are just dogs as well.
Yeah.
Like that's just the way it is. If you let it go, each side will take advantage of that and run away with it. But I don't think we're going to see that type of footy in an Origin series, especially game one. I think it's going to be very tight, and I think they're going to grind it out.
Doesn't feel like the Blues are really set up to play a scrappy game like that with Queensland either this year.
No.
But lastly, in terms of New South Wales, the other position that's under a lot of scrutiny is at halfback. Nico Hines comes in. The Maroons won the series last year, arguably by locking in on Cleary, and they did a great job of that. Hines is inexperienced in this role, but he has, captained the Indigenous All-Stars. He's played with Australia. He's used to the big stage, so to speak. Do you guys think this is purely a play with an eye towards the future? Get Hines in, get some games under his belt, or is it still too early?
Well, it has to be. Because, what else would, Madge be doing right now, especially with all these debutants that are going to play on the, throughout the next phase of Origin? I think he's the right choice, but I think we speak weekly, and you speak weekly about defensively how
He let in 2 tries against Penrith last week.
like how teams can take advantage of him. So it's something that Bill again will be eyeing, and it's something that Nicho Hynes will have to fix up during the 10 days that they're in camp. And I've got no doubt, like he's a class player. We're not going to. There's no way we run him down. Like he's a really good footy player. He's a great person, and he's a competitor. So he's going to give it all. And yeah, maybe it is. I mean, it just looks like year and year, Nathan Cleary is not going to finish a year without injury. So there's got to be someone in the wings just in case.
Ready to go.
And Nicho Hynes is probably that guy.
Yeah, I mean, he's also probably one of the last men standing right now for
True,
game
yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Moses comes back this week. Reynolds is still a long way away. Cody Walker's been out of form. So, yeah, I think he deserves to be there, providing that calf.
Do you think
okay.
Reno or Moses are before him, though, even if they're fit?
I had Moses at 6 and Cleary
okay.
at 7 before the season started, and then Reynolds would probably have been my next choice starting halfback, but that's just my opinion. I totally agree. Nico's been one of the form players in the comp for the last few years. Hopefully that calf's right and we get to see him play a full 80 with the 7 on his back.
All right, let's shift over to Queensland now. Oscar, you've done up a really solid piece on the Neds blog discussing both sides' selections, but we'll throw to you here for the Maroons, even though you are a Blue. You started off...
I just shit on the Maroons for 1,000 words.
We won't let that happen.
You touched on Fafita's selection in your article.
Yep.
Slater's comments earlier in the week have already been well documented. It sounds like he doesn't think Fafita's been living up to his name, which is crazy when you look at the stats, as you said. My question for you is there a chance Fafita's just not the kind of player that Billy likes?
Maybe. I'll throw to Jharal as well. To me, the numbers have been thrown around enough, so I won't repeat them. But Fafita's playing career best football this year. Career best football. And the other one for me is all the negative rhetoric around Fafita is that he's too lazy or he's too one-dimensional and he doesn't impact games across 80 minutes or that he's passive in defence. Those 4 qualities are exactly how I would describe Jeremiah Nanai right now. And you can't tell me that Nanai, his attacking qualities are absurd. Is he a better attacking player than David Fafita?
Around the line, I would say.
They're there or thereabouts, right?
Yeah.
But that's to me why. I don't understand why. Why he's been left out. Maybe it is a personal thing, a character thing. I don't know. Jharal, what do you reckon?
Oh, look, I actually don't know. I'm not going to lie to you. I actually don't know the reason why. But if Bill's not picking him and he's had those conversations behind closed doors with David Fafita, I've got no doubt it's the right decision. I'm sure, he came out publicly, Bill, and said that they had a good conversation, and he wished the players all the best, which we wouldn't, ask anything less of him. And then, followed it up with a text message saying that everything he spoke about to Bill on the phone, he said, I meant everything. So I think when, there is, in media we can put it the way that you want to, and people go, oh, well, there's problems there. I can tell you this much right now. There's definitely never any problems in Queensland camp. They're always... It's just always the way that the media like to write about it. And New South Wales media will run about it. They'll run Queensland down the lowest. Look, they've been running down their own team for the last 4 or 5 years. So let them run
better.
Yeah, let them run them. Let them run those stories or whatever they want down there, down south. Because I can guarantee you, in those sheds it will be the clippings because we've had it, we've done it. That's the way it always is in Queensland. They'll take everything that they can get and they'll use it as ammo. So I got no doubt we're going to see David Fafita back in. A Queensland jersey very, very soon. I don't think he's going to be out of the mix for too much longer.
The other big call that Billy made was Tommy Dearden, pairing with DCE in the halves. Fan of that, Oscar?
Yeah, look, it's hard to argue with it, isn't it? I think I said last week it was 6 of one, half a dozen of the other for me between Ezra and Tom. Tom's defence, I'm assuming, and his experience is probably what got him over the line there. And Ezra, the Broncos are on a bye this week. So Piakura and Ezra will spend the week in camp.
By last week as well, I think they were.
I don't remember watching that.
I got to stop going to footy games.
That was on you, mate.
I was.
Yeah. So no, I think that's just the latest example of the successful succession plan that Queensland have just always had in place. They got the next guy up ready to go.
Just lastly on the selections, are you guys a fan of maybe making this a bigger deal in the media? Like, should we have a night
actual
dedicated?
release?
Yeah, the actual
It
release.
needs to be.
Yeah.
Shouldn't just be a social media drop. should it?
Well, I think
Pete Padell posting,
I
like
hate
tweeting
it,
at
man.
4:30.
Yeah.
Like you're sitting there just refreshing your Twitter and you're like just waiting to see. I think they need both coaches on like Channel 9 or something
Yeah,
coming
kind
out.
of like the
and-
NBA does with the All-Star game.
Yeah,
we're
All-Star.
picking this player.
Yeah, I think like people that eat it up. Firstly, me speaking as a fan, absolutely, I want that. But then it's also like it also legitimizes what you're reading because a lot of the
agreed.
stuff is speculation and it gets leaked. And yeah, I think we need to make a bigger spectacle.
Yeah,
of it.
we spoke about how good America does it, and you know how they do all their things. There is things that we can take from him, and I think this, like in the draft, when you're obviously talking on the phone to when you're going to go and your coaches and stuff like that. There's no problem with doing that. Like imagine sitting at home with your family, not knowing if you're going to make it. I think they do it in World Cups as well for soccer. They don't actually know, and their names comes up on the TV, and they're there with their family. Like. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I'm all for that.
Yeah.
I think it would make it a lot better. I just think with the times of games on Sunday afternoons, there's got to be ways that it's done properly because you're not going to you're not going to be with your family at 10:30 at night when they're running the team. But I'm all for that.
Be better, NRL. Needs
Yeah,
to be
be
better. Before we get into some betting, boys, just quickly, the Dally M votes go quiet as of this round, so all goes behind closed doors. Edwards sits atop the leaderboard with 31 points, Hines on 30, DCE a bit further down at 27. Feels like a two-horse race. Who are we all backing just quickly?
They lose points over the Origin break now.
Yeah.
All three of those fellas could play 3 Origin games. So
Did
they'll
I
miss
read
out.
an article saying that Origin games are being counted towards Dally M's, or did
No
I
way.
get April fooled?
I don't. I haven't
it's
seen
interesting.
anything.
It's crazy because it's May.
Radio silence.
You never know in the wonderful
No, I don't
world
know.
of rugby league.
I don't know. I haven't even.
How far?
swear
How
I-
far ahead was Nico?
So Edwards is on 31, Hines is on 30,
Yeah, and then
and DCE is 27.
I think Edwards probably could still push away, but they give Nico 3 points for just putting his shoes on the right feet at the moment. So, I don't really understand how the voting works these days. If you can
It's
explain
very
it to me,
confusing,
yeah.
I have to say. Yeah.
It's as confusing as the hard-earned index. I would
I think once it goes to closed doors, I honestly think that the voting. I actually don't think people care like how they vote. So when it's obviously out in the open, we look at that and we go, oh, that sounds right. Watching those players and seeing the teams each and week in, week out. But once it goes to closed doors, no one's going to question it as we go to the Dally M's and then they go, oh, how did that person get there? So I have no clue. I got no clue. I got no clue.
It's turning into more and more of a farce every year. Like 6 votes now. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
What's the point?
We just need to be able to bet on it. Those were the days. Speaking of betting, we're going to come
Thanks,
back.
guys.
We're going to come back with the offload.
All the betting trends from around the comp. This is the offload.
Oscar, let's jump into the betting.
Let's do it.
Round 13, obviously a shorter round because of Origin and the buys.
Yes.
Friday was calling your name first, if I'm not mistaken.
Had a look at the Newcastle Knights right edge, which isn't generally where they like to score their points. They score most of their tries down that left-hand side this season, but up against a Bulldogs left edge that's missing Matt Burton this week, missing Viliami Kikau this week. I think there's some new faces on there on that edge for the Knights to target. Dylan Lucas is named to start on Newcastle's right edge, and Tyson Frizzell is on the bench, so keep an eye out for those two, whether there's a late switch before kick-off. But both of those guys are running a really nice slip line on that right edge this year. So they're aiming up at the inside shoulder of the defensive half, and then they're bouncing out as the pass comes to them. The way that Cogger and Hastings are straightening up the Knights attack, I think they're both really good value this weekend.
What about Knights fullback David Armstrong? One of the players I've enjoyed watching the most come through this year. Do you think he's a chance at $2.25 this week?
Always a chance, given how quick he is. If there's a line break situation in the Knights attack, then there's a good chance Armstrong's going to be backing up on the inside. I think he scored 2 off clean line breaks 2 weeks ago before the Knights bye. So, yeah, Armstrong's good value there as well.
Jumping across to the Panthers v Dargans game.
Yeah, up the Dargs. Well, maybe not this week.
What's calling your name here, mate?
Yeah, so the Dragons fullback Tyrell Sloan, much improved this year, really exciting attacking player, but defensively he's still a spot particularly in good ball. We'll see defending fullbacks will put themselves in the defensive line, often at A, so the first guy at either side of the ruck. They put themselves there as a bit of a physical presence, and then they like to drop out of the line and return more to their fullback position. Tyrell's being picked out a lot when he puts himself into the front line, and I think the way Mitch Kenny's playing at the moment with all the other outs for the Panthers this week. Mitch had 2 or 3 try assists last week. He's doing a really good job at dropping little grubbers in behind the line or tipping to a big front rower or burrowing over himself. So, yeah, I think Kenny at $6.25 as of Wednesday morning is great value. Here, I also like Sorensen at $4.60 and maybe one of those big boys up front, Fisher Harris, Leota, or Lindsay Smith as well.
The line set at 9.5 points in Penrith's favour. Given they're missing a lot of their big dogs and obviously Hunty and Lomax are also out for the Dragons.
Yeah.
What side of the line are you sitting on here?
Probably Penrith. I just think in these weeks where there's so many key players missing, you really got to rely on your systems, particularly in defence. I think Penrith have shown over the last 4 years they've got the best system in the competition. And the Dragons, not only are they missing Hunt at halfback, Zach, who's been one of the most productive players in the backs, Jack Bird's missing, Jaden Sewer is missing this week as well, and Ravalawa is out injured. So, probably leaning towards the Panthers there.
I think this was the game that we saw Luai kind of emerge as well when Cleary was out for an Origin debut as well.
Yep.
Jumping across to the Dolphins v Raiders game.
Yes.
Tell me about that, mate.
Yeah, the Dolphins, another team like the Knights, they probably score more of their points down the left-hand side of the field, but I really like Canelli Lemuelu on that right edge for the Dolphins. He runs a really, really good line off Cody Nikorima, or even Isaiah Katoa sometimes sweeps over to that edge. They're up against a Raiders left edge that was very poor last week against the Roosters. Young Ethan Strange is doing a hell of a job in his debut season, but I think he's feeling the grind of week to week first grade at the moment, and he's becoming a bit of a spot for attacking teams. We saw Sam Walker put a few guys through either side of him last week, and I think I'm looking for the Dolphins to do the same with Lemuelu here.
So are you with the Dolphins here?
Yes, I am. Yeah, I think
do they bounce back after that poor second half against the Warriors? Like how does a team overcome something like that?
Yeah, I just think they beat themselves last week. A lot of errors, probably didn't play the same style of footy we've seen from them, kicking the corners and then putting Isaiah Katoa into good positions in good ball. Yeah, I like the Dolphins here.
Trey Fuller returns too.
Trey's back.
One of my favourites this year. Alrighty. And then jumping over Roosters v Cows. I think this one could get pretty ugly if you're a Cowboys fan.
Yeah, the line's at 19.5 as of Wednesday morning, which is enormous. I'm not sure if I'm going to touch that one, but there's a couple of guys in this Roosters attack. Not huge value given how short favourites they are, but James Tedesco, on the back of missing out of Origin this week, I mean, people will be looking for him to respond, but I think this game in particular profiles really well for Teddy. The Cows' edges have been very disconnected at times this year, and we know how good Tedesco is as a support player, sniffing around back rowers, that Keary and Walker are punching into holes on the tram lines. And then the other key area for the North Queensland Cowboys this year has been their middle defence. They're not really closing the gates or filling up the spaces in around the post when the ball goes wide. And we've seen the Roosters consistently this year turn the ball back in towards the ruck for Tedesco. So, yeah, I like Teddy and Fetalaga Panga out there on the left centre position as well.
I'm going to do you one better. Tedesco to score 2 or more tries, 325.
Yeah,
I reckon he's going to be playing angry.
Yep.
I'm going to try and rattle you here real quick while I've still got you. Who's your State of Origin Man of the Series tip?
Man of the Series?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I've got him.
Maybe Payne Haas.
Payne Haas.
Yep. If the Blues win, if Queensland win, geez. Yeah, maybe Paddy Carrigan.
Yeah, nice. Nice.
Yep.
Very cool. All right.
What about you?
All right, now you've rattled me. Look, I'm not giving you a Blues tip.
Fair enough.
But I think it's probably going to be Cherry Evans.
Nice.
Boring and unsexy, but that's where I'm looking.
Gets the job done.
All right. Back to you, Ryan.
He's back where he belongs, the man that knows his way around a list. But this week, listeners, there is no list.
There is no list.
There is no list.
It's a lie.
Fogs, you're throwing a Jharal.
Oh,
yeah,
shivers.
I've got some dumb questions for you this week.
Will we get some dumb answers then,
Yep.
brother?
Let's do it. Look, Origin Camp's on right now.
Yep.
We know about the bonding sessions. We know about the content days. We know about the captain's run at the end of it. What happens in those few days in between with your training sessions? I want a bit more insight into what an Origin Camp looks like from that perspective.
Oh, sort of after the bonding session, I sort of forget. No, it's pretty structured. Usually the boys, I'm not sure where they're going. I haven't spoken to, like, on the phone to them where they're going, but usually they'd go to the Gold Coast.
I think it's Gold Coast this year.
They'll go to Intercont. Is it
Sanctuary Cove?
Sanctuary Cove. That's what it's called. Sanctuary Cove's up there, and it's not as intense as everyone probably thinks it is. It's a lot of relaxing. But when the sessions are on, they're sharp, man. I've never been in a camp where you have no errors when you warm up. You have no errors when you're training. You've got the elite of the elite. So, usually a day would look like training in the morning, straight out of a team meeting. Before every training session, you will have a video session. So there's no, usually when you have a video session in a normal week for the NRL, it'll be on a Monday. You don't have any more after that. They'll have their individuals, I would say, as well. And that'll be done by, assistant coaches. But, yeah, they'll go out there and they know what they're ready to do. And then gym in the afternoon. And in the meantime, obviously they're on a golf course out there. So there's a lot of relaxing. There's a lot of stuff like that. But also a lot of promos. So, things that they have to do, in between where, they might have to go to a lunch and, here and there. So it's a pretty packed week. But when Saturday comes around, that's when none of the promo stuff is done. It's all finished. So Friday's probably the last day for all that. And, Saturday is where they start to really click into gear. I would say they have Sunday off, Monday a little session, and then Tuesday's their team run, captain's run, and it's all go from there. But mostly it's pretty relaxing. Like you would think, because you don't need these guys to be out on their feet a lot. Yeah. They already do a lot of training when it comes to in their NRL clubs, but also they've also all got their own, schedules that they do when they do weights and everything like that. So, for instance, like the Broncos might do weights in the morning, and there might be some, so they don't do everything all at the same time as well. But it's a really cool week. You get to meet a lot of people, a lot of coffees, a lot of time away, but also time together as well. Like they're pretty close. They don't really go too far without each other. It's honestly one of the most enjoyable weeks that you're a part of when you play footy. So yeah, it's so much fun.
Sounds horrible, doesn't it?
What are you working on in those training sessions? Is it basically just the shapes and your sets that you're going to run, and it's Bill saying you might call this play at the Broncos, but we call it this at Queensland? Like, what are you working on?
Well, everything is the same at the Queensland. So since you've come from under 18s to 19s, 20s, there's nothing changes. All the plays are very similar, well, exactly the same, and they're called exactly the same. Right. So that's how cool it is from coming, obviously from, I was never in those young sides, but I was there I've been an assistant coach at those sides before, and yeah, they're all the same. They might change the names when you get to the big time, because obviously over the years people figure that out. And,
like a bloke like Mulatalo that was in the Maroon system playing for Cronulla, we would hear a shape and know what you boys were running then, surely. Yeah.
Exactly. So things like that. So it's really things don't really change when you go into Queensland camp from when you're a young fella. And I would say, I mean, I don't know, but surely it would be similar for New South Wales. I mean, it'd have to be.
Well, we had to leave time to have like those barefoot walking sessions on the grass and stuff. Yeah. So, and we had yoga.
You did craft with the Gatorade bottle and the hose as well, didn't you?
Who, me or Freddie?
Freddie.
Both of us.
No, yeah. So those, the plays when you run them, they're all very similar. They haven't really changed, but it'll just be the way they play. You know, so if it is, for instance, let's get to a Larry for a third and then have a shift. There will be different, but all the plays will say the same, so there's no confusion.
You practice little trick shots and stuff.
Oh, definitely.
As well. I was down at Sanctuary Cove 2 years ago when I was working for the Hunters, and they did an opposed session with the Maroons.
Oh, wow.
In the lead up to game one, I saw Harry Grant play the ball on the right tram line, right near just out from the try line. He picked the ball up, looked infield, did a U-turn and grubbed it in behind the line for Kurt Capewell, who scored that try in game 3
to
of
win it.
CFL.
Very well.
Maybe to win it. So, I remember seeing that and going, oh, that was nice. And then 6 weeks later, I saw it in game 3. So that was a cool little insight.
Oscar saw that try before. It was cool.
Oh, well, I didn't bet on it.
But there's also team run. So it's because it's mostly Queensland reporters. There's a no camera policy.
Yes. So, we were getting sprayed by.
So no cameras, so nothing. So once not just team run, but once it gets later in the week, that's when they'll try things. Because yes, you can say it by mouth to people, but unless you're seeing it, sometimes people don't understand it. So. Yeah, it gets really intense like that, and security, pretty heavy security when it comes to like that as well.
Good.
Anywhere you go,
Rightfully so.
I think one of the coolest
Lock that
things,
shit down.
I think one of the coolest things when you play Origin in Queens, like in Brisbane, Suncorp Stadium, and you stay at the hotel, you would get a full escort, a full police escort, and that is, I heard about it but never really experienced it. That was one of the coolest things, like going over the Queen. What's the
Story Bridge.
Not over the Story
Captain
Bridge.
Cook?
Going towards Suncorp Stadium from the casino, they just fully stop everyone.
Good.
And there's no cars can get
Who's
through.
going to object to that?
And you hear a beep, 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 everyone beeping on the highway because the Queensland bus is going to the stadium, and that's a pretty cool moment. Yeah.
Nice. All right, cool. That'll do me.
Fascinating insight
I
there,
can keep
boys.
going. But
Yeah, no, that was solid. Good chat. All right, we'll come back with the multi.
Surely they get one up this week. It's the NRL Podcast Multi.
It's that part of the week where we've got to talk about the dreaded multi. It's depressing. We all know it.
surely people just skip through this
Yeah,
now.
I would. I wouldn't blame them.
Don't skip it.
We should just put an ad in place of this going forward.
What round are we at?
13.
13.
Oh, so we're halfway through the
Yeah,
year.
we haven't even gone close, to be completely honest. But anyway, last
What
week,
happened last- yeah, what happened
let's
last week?
recap. Last week, Jharal, you took the Storm head-to-head versus Manly. I don't know why Oscar's laughing because he took the Dragons head-to-head versus the Dogs.
Look, in not my defence, but in the Dargans' defence, they were on top in that game, and then poor Jack Bird went down, and
You know,
the
it's
Dogs
only
put
Syndesmosis.
4 tries on him.
Syndesmosis.
Oh,
Carrying
how
on.
good was
Birdie, if you're listening to this, that is a grade 3 carry. I was so worried for his life and his ankle. Now I couldn't give a fuck.
See the
Jack.
the footage of him with his ankle in the bin with all the ice
Oh,
in
bruh.
it. Just
Because I was
chop it off.
You know what I was like? I even text Hunty. I was like, I don't want to freak him out. I was like, I hope he's okay. And then come back the next day and I called Dozer. And he's like, it's syndesmosis. I was like, fuck that guy, man. I was
did you
so
spray him?
worried about him.
I think you need to spray
Like
him.
he was a mate. Like I
think
still a
he
mate of
already
mine,
has.
but I just couldn't. I haven't even. No, I haven't
looked
contacted
bad.
him.
Doesn't deserve it.
He doesn't deserve me because it looked like it snapped, and he carried on
It
like
looked
it
like a
snapped.
compound,
He looked
yeah.
like he was doing the slug off the field. It's one of my favourite dance moves. Anyway, Jack,
We're clipping
some of your
this
best
for
work.
sure.
Grade 3 carry on.
Fogs, you took the Roosters to cover the alternate line versus the Raiders. Well done. And I took the Panthers plus 3.5 versus Cronulla. Thank you very much.
Look, you're only as good as your other legs.
Have
though.
I fallen last? I'm dead last.
Oh,
now.
here we go.
Oh, fudge.
The records.
It's not good.
I'm 9-4.
Yeah, you've been killing it, mate.
And he's
done.
not
You're
the
going
problem.
your way.
Yeah, 9-4.
Not the problem.
Next best, Oscar, you're 5-8. Fogs.
Jeez, that's next
I'm-
best.
That's next
Yeah.
I
best.
think
yeah.
I'm bad, bro.
Fogs 4-8. Jharal 3-10.
Oh.
We got to bring back the punishments here. Like, this is
Yeah, what do you want me to do?
I
don't
gave
know.
myself
Martini?
an L last week
Espresso
because I
martini.
missed a leg too. So I think I'm different. I think I'm 4-9.
You are
4-9.
different. Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
We do know that.
Built
I'm
different,
different.
son.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. This week, Fogs, your first cab off the rank, mate.
Yeah, and I've taken Para 1-12
With a gun to your head. might I
Yeah,
add.
well, the punters didn't need to know that. Moses and Gutho are back. That's the only justification I've got.
against
They
the
playing
ladder
doggies?
leading Cronulla Sharks.
I'm not worried about it
Oh,
at all.
First leg, too, Thursday night. We could be dead in the water.
Well, the Sharks are paying $2, aren't they?
yeah.
I'm not worried. I'm not worried at all.
Anyway, we
boys.
love you and
Come
we will
with me,
back
fellas.
you.
Come with me.
Jharal, you're next.
I'm going Penrith, head to head. I've had enough. I've just literally had enough. No Ben Hunt, no Zach Lomax. I just don't think the Dargans can go anywhere near them, actually, to be honest. And I want them to finish top 8, punters, like I do. but
Not this week.
not this week. I'm going Penrith at home. So
God.
yeah, I need something. I don't think I've picked one in like 4 weeks.
Nah,
So-
I wasn't going to say anything.
Yeah.
Oscar, I think this is a bit of a revenge bet or something from you here. You've got on a player market.
Yeah, I've taken James Tedesco
Ooh.
anytime against the Cowboys. He's paying $1.73, I think he was this morning, which
Yep.
isn't huge, but
Something.
yeah, look, response game for Teddy. The Cows' edges are horrible and their middles are even worse. I think it profiles nicely for Tedesco in that Roosters attack.
I'm in the same game. I'm going the Roosters to cover the 19.5-point spread.
Holy
Cowboys have lost 2 games by double digits.
19?
19.5, yeah. Lost 2 games by double digits to teams in the
What?
top 8.
Really?
Yeah. I'm going.
Whoa.
We're
That's a
going
stat.
all in. We're going all in. So to recap, we've got the Eels 1-12 on Thursday night. Panthers head-to-head versus the Dargans. Oscar's gone Teddy anytime. I've gone the Roosters to cover. We're getting $11.30.
That's actually not bad.
Better than poking the eye.
Yeah.
Well, I think I'd take a poke in the eye
You
at this point.
ask Josh McGuire about that.
That's all I've been copping.
Ask Bruce about that. That was bad.
You can find that multi in the special section on the Neds app. When we come back, we'll wrap up.
You're listening to Ned's NRL Unpopular Opinions.
All right, boys, we're just about to wrap up here on Ned's NRL Unpopular Opinions. What have we agreed to name the episode? Liam?
Freddie Fittler's arts and crafts session, eh?
I love it. I love
That's
it.
a big. That's big.
I reckon we'd have some fun.
It's hurt my brain thinking about that.
I won't make you explain it. Boys, we'll be back on Monday next week
Yeah,
to
we will.
preview a proper punting preview, might I add, ahead of Origin Game 1.
Yeah, cool.
Until then, subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts. What are you boys looking forward to?
Oh, I mean, there's not many games over the weekend. I'm just looking for the hype. I mean, it's already started with Queensland. Harry Grant's a little bit ill
3-0.
in camp, so we're looking good.
See Madge cut his head open
Yeah, I
yesterday.
did.
as
Oh,
well.
like-
He ran into something,
A sign or
talking
something?
to Payne Haas or
That'd
something.
fire me up. I'll tell you what. If
Jesus.
that doesn't get you boys going, nothing will.
I'd need to see it. Like,
Yeah.
where's the footage?
I hope he's got proper footy head
Yeah,
tape
yeah.
on too.
That's so funny.
The Harry Grant one was just like clockwork, hey?
Yeah.
Like, were you guys even in camp yet when that story was broke? Harry Grant misses training because he's sick. It's like, well, have you guys even gone to
They
camp?
hadn't even had their bonding session. That was last night, I believe. Tuesday night.
Oh, he might have had to miss that. Oh, that's bad.
No
That's
chance.
bad for Queensland.
I'm not sure.
System-
If you've
we're a
ever been on
system team.
If you've ever drunk with Harry, it might be a good idea.
We'll be right. I'm not worried.
All right, lads, we'll do it all again on Monday. Thank you, Oscar. Thank you, JYY. Thank you, Fogs.
Thanks for listening to Ned's NRL Unpopular Opinions. Enjoyed the podcast? Remember to like, subscribe, and rate the show wherever you get your podcasts.
What's gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au.